It was a huge discovery that would change his life forever. But little did he know that things would take a turn for the worse even before he got to share his joy with the world. Trapped beneath the unforgiving weight of the rocks, he endured agonizing days of cold and hunger, his hopes dimming with each passing moment. The desperate efforts to rescue him would captivate the nation, drawing crowds and even garnering the attention of the president. Yet, amid the flurry of attention, none of this would do him any good. Would you risk it all to discover a new cave, to go crawling in the dark and the damp for the sake of stamping your name in history? This is Fatal Tragedies, with the worst death possible and caver history. Born in Logan County, Kentucky on July 20th, 1887, Floyd Collins grew up surrounded by the rolling hills and rich farmland near Mammoth Cave. From a young age, he was drawn to the mysteries of the underground world, exploring Mammoth Cave's vast passageways and hunting for Native American artifacts to sell to tourists. At just 13, he stumbled upon his own cave named Donkey's Cave after his mule's unexpected discovery. Hired by geologist Edmund Turner, Floyd's passion for cave exploration led to the discovery of several caverns on his family's farm. By his late teens, he was an experienced caver driven by an insatiable curiosity. Setting his sights on a new opportunity, Floyd turned his attention to a cave on a nearby farm owned by a man named Beasley Doyle. Positioned just before Mammoth Cave and conveniently close to the road, it seemed like the perfect location. After striking a deal with Beasley, they embarked on a joint venture to excavate and commercialize the cave, to be named Sand Cave. Floyd poured himself into the project, tirelessly expanding the cave's narrow passageways and making the entrance accessible to visitors. With unwavering dedication, he toiled for hours each day, driven by the belief that Sand Cave would become a bustling tourist destination. However, Floyd's vision didn't unfold as expected. While Sand Cave did indeed become renowned, it was for reasons far from his hopes. On January 30th, 1925, the snowflakes danced in the morning air. Floyd Collins, now aged 38 years old, embarked on another journey into the depths of Sand Cave, armed with nothing but a kerosene lantern. Familiar with the darkness and dampness of the underground, he navigated through the tunnel with ease. Descending through the crevice, Floyd found himself face to face with a daunting obstacle: the squeeze, a tiny opening that had deterred countless explorers before him. Unfazed, Floyd pressed on, flattening himself against the ground and inching forward with determination. Despite the sharp gypsum crystals that clung to his clothes, Floyd persevered, emerging on the other side to a narrow ledge overlooking a pit. With careful maneuvering, he descended feet first, mindful of the jagged rocks below. Excitement coursed through him as he realized he was on the brink of discovering the cavern he had long sought. With meticulous effort, Floyd cleared the final obstacles, revealing a hole leading to the main cave below. Securing a rope, he descended the 80-foot drop, each moment filled with anticipation and caution. When Floyd finally reached the cavern floor, a wave of unimaginable joy washed over him. He stood in awe of his discovery, his eyes brimming with tears as he surveyed the expanse of Sand Cave. But as the flickering light of his lantern caught his attention, he knew it was time to depart, eager to share his momentous find with his loved ones and partners. Hurrying back to the surface, Floyd's heart sank when his lantern slipped from his grasp and shattered, plunging him into darkness. Undeterred, he pressed on, navigating the narrow passage with caution, mindful of the rocks that surrounded him. Yet, in the oppressive blackness, disaster struck. A loose rock, dislodged by his movements, pinned his left leg, trapping him in the cold embrace of the cave. Desperately, Floyd struggled to free himself, but with each attempt, more rocks tumbled down, sealing his fate in the suffocating darkness. Trapped beneath the weight of rubble, Floyd found himself in a harrowing predicament. His limbs pinned and his head forced to one side by a stubborn rock. He cried out for help, his pleas echoing through the silent cavern. And yet, as hours stretched agonizingly by, his cries went unanswered, leaving him alone with nothing but his prayers. As the hours dragged on, Floyd lay immobile, his only solace found in whispered prayers for deliverance. It wasn't until the following Saturday morning, nearly 24 hours after his ordeal began, that hope arrived in the form of Ed Estes and B. Doyle, the property owners, accompanied by Doyle's son, Jewel. Discovering Floyd's abandoned coat and hat outside the cave's entrance, they called out his name, their voices bouncing off of the cavern walls. Undeterred by the challenge, Jewel, slender and agile, squeezed through the narrow passage until he reached Floyd's side. With relief flooding through him, Floyd urged Jewel to fetch help, his faith in rescue renewed by the presence of another soul in the darkness. By noon, Floyd's brother Marshall and their father Pap arrived at the cave, greeted by a throng of onlookers gathered in anticipation of Floyd's rescue. Marshall, along with another man, ventured past the squeeze and began the painstaking task of widening the tunnel leading to Floyd. They worked meticulously, mindful of the precariousness of the situation and the need to avoid dislodging any rocks that could endanger Floyd further. As hours passed, the crowd swelled to nearly 100 people, their collective breath held in anticipation of Floyd's salvation. Among them stood Homer, Floyd's older brother, consumed by regret for not accompanying Floyd into the cave on that fateful Friday morning. Determined to right his wrongs, Homer pushed through the crowd and descended into the cave, ignoring the pain of the rough rocky tunnel scraping against his skin. Inch by slow inch, he made his way closer to Floyd, until finally his legs touched Floyd's face, a bittersweet moment of physical contact amid the darkness. However, Floyd's situation was dire, worsened by the melting ice outside the cave that caused icy droplets to rain down upon him with increasing frequency. Freezing and immobilized by the encroaching mud, Floyd expressed his resolve never to return to the cave once rescued, his spirit undimmed by the ordeal. After several hours of Homer's tireless efforts to reach Floyd, Floyd insisted that his brother take a break, marking 8 hours since they first made contact. By this time, it was already Sunday morning, and upon resurfacing, Homer was met with a scene of chaos as a crowd had gathered outside the cave entrance. Enraged by the sight of so many people, Homer vented his frustration, demanding that they either assist in the rescue effort or make way for those who could. However, his words fell on deaf ears as the news of Floyd's plight had spread rapidly, attracting reporters eager to capture the unfolding drama. As the day wore on, attempts were made by various individuals to reach Floyd with mixed results. Rumors began to circulate among the crowd, some claiming that Floyd had perished, while others suggested that the pit had collapsed entirely. In a desperate bid for information, Marshall offered a substantial reward to anyone who could confirm his brother's condition. Yet, despite their best efforts, the responses remained uniformly grim. Floyd was either dead, unseen, or trapped beneath the rubble. As evening approached, Homer ventured back into the cave, his heart heavy with dread. However, to his immense relief, he discovered that Floyd was still alive, a glimmer of hope amidst the darkness and uncertainty. As Homer tirelessly worked to clear away the debris, he made slow but steady progress. By the 4th day of the ordeal, Floyd's hands were finally freed from the rubble, allowing him some semblance of movement. Desperate to facilitate his brother's rescue, Floyd requested that they tie a rope around his chest to aid in his extraction. Tuesday morning arrived, and Homer, equipped with a harness, descended once more into the cave, joined by other men ready to assist in pulling Floyd to safety. However, their efforts were short-lived as Floyd's agonized screams halted their progress. His body was unable to withstand the strain. Undeterred, Homer continued his painstaking work, but exhaustion and injuries took their toll, forcing him to rest and receive treatment. In his absence, a reporter named SKS entered the cave, installing a light bulb near Floyd and conducting interviews. Despite his efforts to remove rubble and expose Floyd's legs, the task proved daunting, with attempts to lift the rock off Floyd's foot ultimately failing. As SKS's interviews were printed in newspapers and broadcast over the radio, Floyd's plight became a spectacle, drawing crowds to the cave entrance. Amidst the fervor of those rooting for Floyd's survival, false rumors circulated, sowing doubt about the authenticity of the situation. Outside the cave, a carnival-like atmosphere prevailed, with hotels fully booked and prices inflated. The influx of people, combined with the melting ice within the cave, posed a grave risk of collapse. Tragically, on Wednesday afternoon, the worst fears were realized as the entrance to the pit collapsed, severing access to Floyd. Despite the chaos, Floyd remained trapped, unreachable by any rescue efforts. On Thursday, February 5, 1925, a team of workers embarked on a mission to create a shaft within the cave in a desperate bid to reach Floyd. Barred from entry, they relied on a signal system connected to a light bulb near Floyd's head to confirm his continued existence. As they toiled away, days turned into weeks, with Floyd trapped below, deprived of food and water, his condition steadily deteriorating. By Friday, February 13th, the workers had made significant progress, with one even reporting hearing someone groaning nearby. However, it wasn't until 1:30 a.m. on Monday, February 16th, that one of the workers, named Brenner, made a grim discovery: Floyd's lifeless body. Recognizing the cave as his final resting place, the decision was made to cover the shaft with Floyd's body still inside. However, months later, Homer, determined to honor his brother's memory, had the shaft reopened, allowing Floyd's remains to be properly laid to rest. This brings us to the end of today's journey. Now, a simple question for you. What secrets could be waiting to be unearthed in the depths of caves, just like the one Floyd explored? And would you dare to venture into the darkness to find out? Let me know what you think in the comments section down below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more intriguing adventures. So, until next time, keep exploring, and who knows what fascinating discoveries you might make. See you in our next video.